What's going on, guys? J Rich here. This is an editor's note. I was just editing this video and I realized that I skipped a little something, but in the video coming up you're going to hear me talk about skip shooter antennas. And one of the reasons that I do like skip shooter antennas is the price point. You can get them online a lot cheaper than any antenna you're going to find in the truck stop, basically. You're going to hear me talk about these 7-footers that I just got. These 7-footers online are $31, $32, and I'm going to put a link down in the description below where you can find these antennas. They have them in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7-foot increments, and they do have other antennas. And for you base station guys, this place does have a lot of base station parts as well. So I'm putting a link in the description below. Keep in mind, I am not endorsed by these people. I'm just passing information along. I have to buy my antennas like everybody else. But for as many fire stick antennas that I broke versus how many skip shooters antennas I've broke, the price point is a good point. So go on ahead and hit that subscribe. That's right there. Let's get into the video. What's going on, YouTube? It's J Rich back again, and today, what's the best antenna out there? That's what everybody wants to know. My first question is always, what kind of vehicle does it go on? Because you never get that information. Everybody wants to know, what's the best antenna? What's the best antenna? What kind of vehicle are you putting it on? You got a pickup truck? You got a big rig? What do you got? If you got a big rig, what kind of truck is this? Is it Kenworth? Is it Peterbilt? Freightliner? What year is it? You got to know all these things. Now, for me, personally, I like top load antennas. What I mean by top load is that the coil is at the top of the antenna. Show you. Here is your Wilson antenna. Set that aside. This is your standard Wilson 2000. This is what's more considered like a base load antenna because the load is so close to the base. You could take this shaft off, and mount directly to the antenna mount. So if you get a longer shaft, you can make the Wilson a mid-load, which is way up here. And if you have like a Kenworth, say T880, 660, 880, 680, yeah, you should be running at least a mid-load antenna. I see it every day on the interstate. Somebody with a Kenworth is running a 5 or 10-inch shaft on their Wilson, and their CB sucks. It doesn't hear, it doesn't transmit, it sucks so bad. But if you get a 22-inch shaft, most CB stores have them. I think they're 30 or 40 bucks. They are expensive. Get this coil above that mirror. Get it way out here. Now, there's other great antennas out there. The Francis antenna doesn't really have a coil like anywhere on it. It's just straight line. But these work really good. I like Francis antennas. They're durable. They're very, very flexible. They are great antennas. But my favorite antenna personally is the skip shooter antennas. And this right here is a 6-foot skip shooter. I am 6 foot tall when I got my boots on, but apparently not next to this. So, but the skip shooter antennas they're very flexible. I mean, they are just way flexible. I really like them. My SWRs are super low all the time with the skip shooter antennas, and the way these adjust is that they have a nail right there and a set screw, and you can lengthen that nail out like on this one. That's how you get your adjustment on those. The Francis, just throw that down, I don't need it. The Francis antennas, you have to physically take the cap off and cut the antenna. Important thing on the Francis is when you put the cap back on, I like to put a little Loctite inside the cap. That'll keep trees and other low objects from snatching the cap off. And these caps are hard to find. You can find them, but they are hard to find. So another antenna I like really good is the Fire Stick 2 antennas. They are a top load antenna, and they work really good. They're very easy to tune. Way you tune them is you take this cap off, and it's got the screw. You twist it down, twist it up, and you got this little lock right here that locks it down. So they're very, very easy to tune. Remember, when you're checking your SWRs on the Fire Stick 2, always put your cap back on before you go to checking your SWRs. That cap needs to be on there, or you'll get false readings. Now, as far as the Wilson, say the 2000 or the 5000, the whip antennas, the only reason I like these is if you have no choice but to mount this high on the vehicle where you have the steel whip. And I don't know if you can see it on camera, but this whip has been hit by a few trees and they get damaged. The tip is missing. So they are a good choice to mount up high on top of the mirror if you have no other options of mounting the antenna. But as far as the SWRs go and the send and receive, I do a lot better with the skip shooter antennas. I'm just a fan of the fiberglass top load antennas. Now, however, let me say this about the skip shooter antennas. My 6-foot antenna, I broke it. So, what did I do? Like any other red-blooded American should do. You go out and you buy a 7-foot skip shooter. That kind of sounds ass backwards, me telling you that I broke my 6-foot antenna, but I go get a 7-foot, right? Well, let me just explain to you the reason that this antenna broke, and it's my fault. These antennas do have a little age on them. Skip shooter's flaw is their flexibility. I showed you, these are very flexible, and I like that. But once the plastic cracks, then your antenna is basically no good at all. Now, there is a way to combat this, and I'm going to show you. But first, I want to show you fire sticks and why I don't buy a fire stick anymore. Set that down. Grab this fire stick. Fire stick antennas, I've probably broke at least 10 fire sticks. They all break at the same place. Right there at those threads. Right there, it's a weak point right there. Let's see, Francis. Let's compare it to the Francis. Francis, you know, they're not weak right there. They mount straight on. They're strong. So, but that is where fire sticks always break. I've had them break in cold winter, just driving down the road and then flexing, and they break. I'm going to show you a skip shooter. On the skip shooter, this where you're tightening at, it comes down flush onto the onto your antenna mount, so it doesn't really give it a chance to break right there unless you over tighten it. All right, now I told you that I showed you where I broke the skip shooter antenna. Now, what am I going to do to keep this from happening again? It's very simple. If you go to Home Depot, you get this stuff. It's called Charlotte pipe. It's not PVC, it's CPVC. And the Charlotte pipe, you want to get 3/4 inch Charlotte pipe. And let's say you're running a standard mirror mount like this, okay? Once you have your antenna on, or you're about to put your antenna on, you can take the Charlotte pipe, slide it down over your antenna, and you're going to have to open this up a little bit if you're using one of these heavy duty bases, just a Dremel tool or something to open this up, and then this will slide over the antenna. So as the antenna flexes, the pipe is helping to not flex too much and break, and it'll help to take the pressure of the antenna flopping in the wind off of your mount. So here are some that I already have cut that I use this Charlotte pipe, and I painted it black just so it doesn't stand out too much. Painted it black, and on the opening I opened it up a good bit so that it will slide over this base, and that will help to take some of the pressure off of the antenna screwing into the base. And so this piece right here is cut into a 2.5 foot length, and I was using these on my 6 foot antennas when I had the Kenworth. And with the Kenworth doesn't have these mirror mounts, but they do have the stud mounts that come through the mirrors. If you have a 680 or an 880, you know what I'm talking about. But the skip shooters are so flexible, and I had the 6 footers on there, that they were aiming back towards the trailer in the wind at 70 miles an hour. The antennas were whipped all the way back to the trailer. So that's not good for your send and your receive. But if you take a piece of this pipe and just slide it down over the antenna, now you don't want this pipe to cover the coil on the antenna. So say a 6 foot antenna, cut it down 2.5 foot. With the 7 foot antenna that I have, I'm probably going to use a 3 foot length. All right, on my Freightliner out here, the way I'm using the mount is with the mirror mount, and this is a Wilson 2000 stainless mount. Now this mount is a lot bigger than that heavy duty mount that I showed you. Just for comparison, that's a big difference. So back to Home Depot I go. I've got my 2.5 foot piece of Charlotte pipe, and I found this adapter. I think it goes up to, it makes a 3/4 into a 1 inch. And then take and grind out the inside so that the pipe will fit over there, like so. Now that's going to help take the pressure off of the antenna to where the antenna doesn't break at the base. So that's how my antenna is going to be set up. In my next video, I'm going to tune the antenna on the truck. I'm not going to do it here because I got a lot of tree cover, and I got the house, I got power lines, I got all that stuff. So I'm going to get the truck back to the yard, out in the open where there's nothing around, and tune the antenna so you can see how I tune the antenna, which is pretty much like everybody else tunes it. But hey, I'm going to give you a refresher course on it. So as far as the best antenna goes, it depends on the vehicle. On the wife's vehicle, she's got a Wilson 5000 mag mount. That works really good. Little wheels, Sorios, Strikers, all those work good. It's in the tuning and stuff like that. You got to tune them right. You know, you can't tune them with all this tree cover next to your house and under your carport. You can't do that. But as far as on a big rig, I prefer top load antennas. You get those antennas above the cab. I know a lot of new trucks now, they've got these little dinky antennas like this, says Freightliner on it, and they're right up against the back of the cab. That's not good. You got to get the load out over the cab of the truck. I see that mistake a lot. I see that with pickup truck owners too. They'll take a Wilson 2000 and mount it right behind the cab of the truck. There, you need to get that coil at least 18 inches away from the body of whatever. Jeep owners, I see Jeep owners doing it a lot too. They'll bumper mount a fire stick, and the tip of the fire stick is hanging this much over the top of the Jeep. That doesn't work good. You're defeating your purpose. Now, maybe you park in a parking garage or something, you go to the mall a lot and you're in the parking deck and stuff, and you can't have no big heavy antenna hanging out there slapping concrete. I get it. But that antenna will do you much better if you get that coil above the cab, away from the body, whether you're in a pickup truck, a Jeep, a car, a big truck, whatever you're in. That antenna will work great. Most any antenna will work great. Some are better than others. Like I said, I prefer skip shooter. They're tough, they're durable, they're flexible. They send and receive very well. My SWRs are super low. I'm talking like 1.0 and some change. Always. That's just the way they are. So, what's the best antenna? Depends on the vehicle. Basically, I don't know that there is a best antenna out there. The hands down, end all be all, the best antenna, I don't know if it's out there. It could be out there. But you have to pair the antenna with the vehicle. That's what I feel. There you have it, guys. That's all I got for today on the best antenna. Go on ahead and watch a playlist. Subscribe. As always, I'm Jay Rich. I appreciate you watching. You keep your knees in the breeze and the shiny side up. We'll be seeing you.